Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Police have arrested 2 males and are on the hunt for a third in connection to an attack of a Dennery resident who has now succumbed to injuries. Ronald Desparis, aka Cooley of Viewfort, living in Dennery, was beaten on Friday, the 19th of March 2021 at Prale by 3 known individuals and sustained severe injuries to the head and body. The assailants fled the scene after Lesparis fell unconscious. Lesparis was pronounced dead on Saturday, the 27th of March 2021. Charges are expected to be laid against the 2 men soon. A ceremony was held Saturday to unveil the newly named Botham Jean Boulevard in Dallas. Jean, 26, was shot to death in 2018 by former police officer Amber Geiger, who is serving a 10-year sentence after being convicted of murder. Geiger claimed she mistakenly entered Botham Jean's apartment thinking it was her own. Botham Jean's siblings, Alisa and Brant, joined civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump on the podium as an emotional Alisa continued to grieve the loss of her brother.
It is with great honor that I stand before you today.
You got it.
On Botham Jean Boulevard.
You got it. Let's go. You got it.
This is hard. It is really hard to be here. It is bittersweet. Yes, we want everyone to remember Botham. We want everyone to forever say his name. But for this sign to be up here, that means he's not. And it is hard for us. I thought I was gonna be strong because it's supposed to be a celebration, but I miss my brother. I want him back.
The street naming ceremony included a speech from Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, who said Botham Jean embodies the very spirit of what the city is supposed to be about. Johnson also proclaimed Saturday as Botham Shem Jean Day in Dallas.
Somebody who was not from here. I'm a native. I grew up here. I'm from Dallas. I wasn't gonna live anywhere else. I didn't know no better. I didn't know no place else. This was home for me. I was gonna come back here. This man that we're honoring today was born across the water on an island nation, came to school in Searcy, Arkansas, could have, based on everything I've understood and learned about him, gone anywhere he wanted to, but chose to make Dallas, Texas his home, and didn't just live here quietly and didn't contribute and just, I'm gonna make my money and be about my business. He contributed to this city. He found a church home and made it his new church home and contributed to making Dallas a better city. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what the city's supposed to be about?
Attorney Benjamin Crump praised Jean's life and legacy.
Nobody, whether black, white, brown, rich, poor, nobody has ever had a negative word to say about your son Botham, Miss Allison. Not one. Do you all know how incredibly unique that is? Now, I'll tell you, Mr. Mayor, I represent a lot of people around the country, and many people you don't find like that, where nobody has not one negative word to say. I mean, they all have universal love for Botham Jean. And that is something, I agree with you, Mr. Mayor, that should be exalted and named on the street so everybody can aspire to be like both.
Jean's mother, Alison Jean, said the street name is a powerful tribute and ensures her son is never forgotten. The St. Lucia Craft and Dry Goods Vendors Association says it is not encouraged by recent developments surrounding visitors coming to the island aboard cruise vessels. President Peter Ras Ipa Isaac says that protocol dictates that visitors will not be mingling with local vendors unless they are part of an organized tour.
The recent announcement of the resumption of cruise tourism in St. Lucia has not had the intended effect for some sections of society. One of those is vendors within the city circuit who have been waiting for the sector to reopen so they could return to earning their keep. The recent announcement by the St. Lucia Tourism Authority surrounding the protocols to guide the reopening have dashed the hopes of vendors. So says the association's president, Peter Isaac.
They're trying to put some the protocols in place, but some of the things that we're trying to ascertain is whether the tourists would be leaving the ships and come in and have free access to come to these places like the arcade, the craft market and so on. The answer is no. People will not be allowed to just willy-nilly live in the ship and just roam anywhere. It would have to be something like organized tours or tours organized to take people into the vendors arcade or the craft market. So anything like if you think people will just be roaming anywhere, no, that's not going to happen.
Another area of concern for the association is vaccination. Isaac says there is still much work to be done in educating vendors on the vaccines.
They are saying that people on the ship are vaccinated, and they are saying that somehow people will feel more comfortable to come into an area where people are vaccinated. So what we are saying is they are saying that the vendors must be vaccinated. Although vaccinated is not compulsory, it's not mandatory, but they are saying it's preferable that people be vaccinated. So we have something to have some discussions with the Ministry of Health so as to roll out some information and some way to see how we can help to give vendors information to persuade them to be vaccinated.
Isaac says that the only way he sees vendors benefiting is if tours are organized by the Ministry of Tourism, which include vendors. The cruise sector is set to reopen mid-July. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
In other related news, the president of the Vendors Association is asking the Castries Constituency Council to remain consistent in its handling of city affairs. This is in relation to the issue of vendors with trolleys on the roadsides.
Sometimes they said they don't want no trolleys on the street, but they ask people to go in the back street with their trolleys and so on. So now they are saying they don't want trolleys on the street entirely. Let us hope that they doesn't give people the right to sell in other areas, whereas would put the vendors in the market at a disadvantage.
Vendors say the same treatment should apply across the board.
They're hoping that these people will not be given permission to sell outside of the markets in every various corners, and that put them at a disadvantage in terms of allowing people to come to the market. I think if there are markets, people must be allowed to come to the markets. But if you allow people to go and sell in various street corners, or you allow them to sell in certain corners, then it would really put the vendors in the market at a disadvantage. So they are hoping that council would take a serious stand and be firm in their decision not to give other people permission to have selling provisions and goods in other areas of Castries.
That was the president of the Craft and Dry Goods Vendors Association, Peter Ras Ipa Isaac. Sea bathers were delighted over the weekend by a dolphin calf sighting at Radway Beach. People the world over are fascinated by dolphins. They are socially skilled, intelligent, agile, and playful creatures that share many emotional similarities with humans. A video and images of the sighting near the shore quickly became the talk of social media. But was the dolphin calf frolicking or in distress? The Chief Fisheries Officer at the Department of Fisheries, Sarita William Peters, says the matter is being looked into by the department.
The department was made aware of a few situations involving dolphin sightings or whale and small cetacean sightings, and we are investigating the matter further, and we will be getting back to the media and the public with regards to the department's findings and further information with regards to whales and small cetaceans.
While both dolphins and fish have adapted to live their whole lives in the water and both have streamlined bodies and fins, dolphins are mammals, not fish. Dolphins regularly visit the surface to breathe air to survive. Otherwise, they would drown. Fish, on the other hand, extract oxygen from the water and do not need to surface. Most species of fish are also known to lay eggs and can lay hundreds of eggs in a single year. Dolphins, on the other hand, give birth to a single baby once every 1 to 6 years and then feed their babies milk through their nipples. Dolphins are warm-blooded and have blubber to keep them warm. Fish are cold-blooded and are able to adjust to different temperatures of the water. The National Youth Council remains concerned over the number of youth involved in serious crime. The NYC President, Nias Alfred, says the council will continue to reiterate the importance of the sustainability of programs put in place to tackle crime.
The National Youth Council is advocating for a continued and renewed effort to tackling crime in St. Lucia. This as the country's crime rate continues to soar and disproportionately affects youth. President Nias Alfred says the first step to tackling crime is to find the root cause.
I don't think that we're doing a good enough job to be able to tackle the root causes of crime in St. Lucia. As a nation, we remain very reactive and not necessarily proactive. And I think that is definitely something that we need to turn around in terms of putting more proactive programs in place to ensure that, we don't wake up every day knowing of a young person who is either a victim or perpetrator of crime. There are reasons why these crimes are committed, so we need to get to the root causes of those issues to be able to tackle it from all sides. And that would definitely include cross-sector collaboration. It is not something that can be tackled solely by the police. It is not something that can be tackled solely by the government. But we really need the help and the assistance of every single stakeholder.
According to Alfred, the efforts by stakeholders cannot be short-lived and must be continuous if the country is to see a sustained reduction in criminal activity.
We seem to be very short-sighted when these things come about. A couple of years ago, there was a spike in criminal activity. There was this forum where stakeholders came together to discuss crime, and then crime went down for a bit, and all of a sudden the consultations and the discussion stopped. And what we're saying is that these efforts need to remain consistent, because if you drop the ball, it will continue to happen. It's just like similar to the matter of COVID, where we were enjoying a period where we had COVID under control, but then we probably, we had a period where people did not do what they were supposed to, where during the Christmas season, people went out like they were not supposed to, and we saw a spike in the cases of COVID post-Christmas. And crime is similar. If we put our eyes or we take our eyes off the ball, we will continue to see that problem persist.
And when all else fails, the NYC president believes that a reinvigoration of community policing needs to take place.
To ensure that trust between the police and the population is rebuilt, and that, it comes to a place where people actually feel comfortable going to the police to let them know about the crime that is happening within their various communities. So trust and the renewed effort, renewed resources being pumped into policing, community policing, would definitely have an impact.
So far, the island has recorded 12 homicides for 2021. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, more COVID cases, and Dr. James Fletcher reacts to St. Lucia being snubbed for the Leaders in Climate Change Summit.